Hey, what's going on, everybody? FullFrontage here today, bringing y'all a Clash Mini video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how Clash Mini can add more depth into the game. There's been a lot of talk recently about how depth is lacking in Clash Mini, and that could be preventing it from going global. So I'm going to offer a couple ideas that I had come up with, and you guys can let me know how you think these would be implemented into Clash Mini down in the comment section below. If you think this would help the game or hurt the game, or if these are bad ideas, or if this sparks any other ideas from you guys, then please leave them down in the comment section below. Let's get some feedback over to the Clash Mini team, so that way we can help push this game closer to global launch. So let's get into discussing how Clash Mini can add depth into their game. First, I want to talk about this offer. Buy skin, get shards free. The skin Underlord Skeleton King is available in the shop for 449 gems at a slight discount, but the original price of the skin is 499, and I think offers like this are incredible. So if you wanted the Skeleton King skin, and I think this would be the time to get the offer, because you just basically get the skin and then shards for free. These are the kinds of offers that we would like to see in the game, so keep it up, Clash Main team. You're doing a great job, especially if you keep adding things like this. Alright, so now let's talk about the simplest thing, which they're already going to be doing, and that's adding more minis into the game. I think introducing more minis into the game will just automatically come with more depth, a wider variety, a wider pool of minis to build your deck. That adds more depth into the game because there's many different strategies, many different combinations that you can make work to maximize your efficiency against certain hard counters. For example, Archer Queen versus Shield Maiden. Most of the time, Archer Queen's going to lose that matchup, right? So if there are other minis in the game that help maybe take Shield Maiden down, then there are more options that the Archer Queen player can use to have those minis in their deck and help take down Shield Maiden players, so that way they're not getting hard countered as soon as they see that matchup. I think that's a great way to just kind of naturally reduce the lack of depth within Clash Mini. Next idea I have is adding fourth abilities for heroes and minis. I think once you go to the hero selection, you'll be able to see all their abilities. You see ability 1, ability 2, ability 3, and ability 4, and you're able to select which of the 3 abilities you would like to equip to that hero and bring into battle with you. I think this would add a little bit more depth, because once you see a hero, it could be ability 1, 2, and 4. It could be ability 4, 3, and 2. You just don't know until the match starts, and this kind of adds another layer of depth into the game, and also a little bit more strategy within the game as well. Then for the 4-star minis, I think it'd be cool if the minis were to have a 4th option when you're trying to upgrade them in game, and you can only upgrade them to 3 stars, but you have 4 options to choose from. I don't know if this is going to be too RNG based, but I wanted to throw the idea out there, so let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. Next up, this is an extremely popular request, and this is spells. Spells, so many people want to see them in the game. Whether it's Rage, Heal, Lightning, Poison, Earthquake, all that stuff. People want to see spells within Clash Mini. So how do I think spells could work inside the game? I think they would be slightly similar to gizmos in the sense that, like, you get multiple per game, but then you can only choose. You have to choose which one you want to use at which moment. So I think you should be able to bring 2 spells with you into battle. And spells have kind of 2 options. They can be helpful to you, whether it's heal and rage, or they can be hurtful to your opponent, whether it's poison and freeze. With this way, you choose 2 spells that you want to bring into the battle, and then you would choose 1 per round. So starting at round 2, you can't choose a spell on round 1. It has to be at round 2. Round 2, a little pop-up will happen, kind of like you see in draft, right? Where it'll say, do you want this spell or this spell? The 2 options pop up. If you decide you don't want a spell, you just leave it. If both players decide that no spells will be used that round, then there will be no second pop-up. If one player decides to use a spell that round and the other player doesn't, a pop-up will show up again, and it says, your opponent chose to use a spell. Would you like to use a spell? And then that way it kind of is like, oh, my opponent's using a spell. Do I want to use it now? Do I want to use it later? Do I want to try to, do I think I can win this round without a spell? Things like that. It adds a lot more strategy and a lot more thinking into it, because it's kind of like mind games at that point, right? Like, my opponent chose a spell. Do I want to use mine, or do I want to save it for later? And then once a spell is used, you cannot remove it. So, for example, if you choose that rage spell, you have to use that rage spell in that round. The only thing that changes is what unit you're putting it on, or what area you're affecting, depending on how spells specifically work. But I think that is the most fair way to do it, because then not only are you kind of showing your opponent your hand that you're choosing to use the spells and everything like that. But it works in the sense that it's a little bit more fair for each player. So then that way they know what that spells are coming in that round. Much like if you place a gizmo down, it stays visible and it stays in that location for the rest of the round. So makes things a little bit more fair, in my opinion, with spells. Next up is going to be a hero button. This is kind of talked about by a few people within the community that they would like to see a little bit more interactivity during a game, and a hero button would do just that. So that rather than having the heroes have a fourth ability, the hero would have a unique ability that is triggered by the player. A little button would show up, and if you activate it at the right time in a match, it could change the tide of a round. So I think that would be super cool, and of course hero abilities would only be able to be used once per round. Next up, this is another pretty requested feature, is going to be items, and I would say that items would only appear on round 3, so they start appearing on round 3. That way, if it's 2-0, if it's 1-1, items can be used to kind of turn the tide of the battle for both players, depending on how you use them. So items appear on round 3. The item would be random, but it's the exact same for each player. So for example, if there's a sword that gives +1 attack, if there's a cloak that gives a certain percentage hit speed increase, if there's a little orb that floats around you that heals X amount of HP over X time, if there's a little shield that you get that gains invulnerability, if there's a different kind of shield that you get that gives you the shield ability so that you kind of have extra hit points, etc. Things like that. And I would say that items could be used to affect different minis in subsequent rounds. Meaning, if in round 3 you place it on your Barbarian, if on round 4 you want to place it on your Archer, you can move the item from your Barbarian to your Archer in round 4. It adds a lot more strategy, adds a lot more in-depth gameplay, and I think items could be a really cool fit within Clash Mini. And the last idea that I have is talking about subclass synergies. And what do I mean by that? Each hero in Mini will get a subclass, whether that's a tank, melee unit, support unit, range unit, etc., whatever it might be, whatever the classifications are. If you use 3 of a certain subclass, everyone that holds that subclass would gain the bonus for that round. So for example, if you have ranged, maybe you get a certain hit speed percentage increase. If it's melee, you get +1 to your units, things like that. And it only affects the units that have that subclass synergy. So that's kind of how I see synergies working. I don't know if we need items and synergies, but honestly, if we're choosing between the two, I think I'd prefer items over synergies. I think it's a lot easier to implement, and I think there's a lot more creativity that they can do with items versus synergies because those are so unit dependent. So those are the ideas that I have to implement some more depth into Clash Mini. If you have any new ideas, let me know down in the comment section below. I'm going to be reading all the comments in this video and also passing some more feedback onto the dev team about this so that they can implement some of these if you guys like them. Also, let me know that down in the comment section below. And the Clash Mini team, if you're watching this video, hope this video was helpful and helped spark some ideas behind the scenes so that you can play around with these and see if any of these would work for the core gameplay of Clash Mini and help kind of add that depth that players are looking for and helps push the game global. So that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content, and don't forget to turn that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you later. Peace out.